All right, we're going to kickstart this event. Welcome to everyone who made it to our amazing event on or related to our Career and Insights Week. We are so grateful that you took our time to be here, even though this is for your own benefits too. But we appreciate your commitment. um, Like I said before, the first time I don't know if all of us were there, but my name is Victor Emmanuel. I am the, events coordinator for Christech Analytics. And today I'll be moderating this wonderful webinar from our founder, Mr. Christopher Onyeneke, who is going to be speaking to us about how to leverage and optimize your portfolio, and also opening up the floor for questions and answers so that we can get better insights on how to break into a career in data analytics or data science or tech generally. So it is my pleasure to welcome our visionary founder, Mr. Christopher, who himself is an expert in data science. He has been able to build this community, so he's building this community, and he has also successfully mentored individuals who have gone on to, secure roles in the data science and analytics sphere. He has also helped to guide or helped businesses in applying predictive analytics to solve critical problems they might have. So it is my honor and my privilege to invite Mr. Christopher Onyeneke, our founder, to kickstart this webinar.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
I'm
evening.
happy to see you all here. You're welcome to this impactful webinar. So, because of time, we're going to dive right into what we have today. I'll be sharing my screen now.
While he's trying to share his screen, let me just give some of the guidelines to help us have a successful webinar without any interference. Please, if you have any questions along the way, you can just drop them in the chat. If you also want to react to what he's saying, you can just click those react buttons. I think Mr. Christopher is ready for us.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for mentioning that. So, we're going to dive right in. So, we're going to be looking at career and insight, mastering the professional journey for data enthusiasts. If you are a beginner in the data space or you are a professional, you're already working with data, this webinar is meant for you. It's going to guide you in your data career. It's going to give you the insight in putting out a great portfolio that would get interviews and eventually land you to amazing jobs. We're also going to look at interviews in this webinar. The first thing we're going to be looking at is defining what a career is. People do confuse career and having a job. They are two different things. A career is the cumulative sum of your experiences, your skills, and reputation. It's a long-term asset that grows over time, independent of any single employer. So it's different from having a job. A job is more or less like you give your time and you get money in return. That's what a job is. It's like a transaction. Think of it as a portfolio of your skills. That is a career. It's like a portfolio of your skills, your reputation, as well as the problems you've solved in the Nigerian data market. So that is what a career is all about. And at the same time, you have to have a value mindset. Professional success in Nigerian's data market is defined by the problems you solve, not the tools you use. Right now, there are several tools that are out there in the data space, and building a very strong career is beyond you just making use of those tools. It's mainly about how you approach solving problems. I believe we've gotten what a career is talking about. Now we're going to look at integrating data skills. Integrating data skills. One of the biggest misconception is that you need to quit your current field to become a data scientist. But that's not true. Data science, data science doesn't work in isolation. Because of you are learning a data skill, that does not mean you will just be stuck on that particular data skill. A data skill is something that multiplies your domain knowledge that you have on something. Let us take a good example. Let's say you studied agriculture in school. You studied agriculture for like 3 to 4 years in school. Having a data skill is just like a multiplier effect. It multiplies your domain expertise in agriculture by utilizing data. So now, if you were a agricultural risk professional in that field, without you having a data skill, you might just have the basic knowledge, a domain expertise of how you plant, the right time to plant, the right time to harvest, and the rest. But when you integrate data skills into that your domain, it does much more than that. It gives you a structure of how you approach solving agricultural problems. It gives you a step-by-step process, and it allows you to do more in that domain. So data skills are not meant to exist in isolation. They are multipliers for your existing domain knowledge. Whether you are in finance, health, or logistics, I've used agriculture for an example. The ability to define, collect, analyze, and act, it transforms you from a tax doer to a strategic partner. That's what happens when you integrate data skill. I hope before the end of this webinar, you would start thinking how you can integrate your data skills into different domains, into different industries. It's going to really help you solve problems rather than just mastering a particular skill. The next thing we're going to be looking at is the portfolio. Yes, the portfolio, your digital handshake and proof of value. That's what portfolio talks about. So, how do you set up a good portfolio? In a world of thousands of resumes, your portfolio is your proof. Your portfolio shows that this is my experience in this particular field. This is what I have
I'm
done.
sorry for the interruption. The slides are not moving. Can you help us?
Okay, let me reshare my screen. Thanks for that. How about now? Is it visible?
Yes, yes, it is. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so as I was saying, setting up a good portfolio. First of all, your GitHub shouldn't just be a graveyard of code. Most people they make use of GitHub as their portfolio. Yes, instead of creating a personal website where you can show your work, you can just make use of GitHub to show your works. But besides using GitHub, there's a right way to set up your GitHub to use it for your portfolio. So the first thing is you shouldn't just compile and put your code in GitHub. There is a right way of doing that. We want to see clean script, and more importantly, a README file that explains your thought process. Secondly, you need to use local context. What do I mean? If you are applying for a job in Lagos, don't show me the Titanic dataset. The Titanic dataset is like a playground dataset. Rather, show an analysis of Lagos traffic patterns or Nigerian fintech trends. This proves that you understand the environment you will be working in. That's the second aspect. The first aspect, you have to set up your README file. Structure your README file in your GitHub. Let it be explanatory from the very first step of your project to the last step of your project. Let your README file define everything and explain the step-by-step process. It's going to help you. And use real data sets. Use the right data sets for your problem solving. It's very important. We're going to look at portfolio standards. For portfolio standards, let's look at the comparison between an amateur portfolio and a professional portfolio. A professional portfolio shows business impact. For instance, my model identified a bottleneck that saved the company ₦1 million. That is like a business impact. You are using your insights to bring about a very big business impact. Now, see the difference. The first one is, let us look at an amateur portfolio. It says my model is 90% accurate. The other one says my model identified a bottleneck that saved the company ₦5 million. The difference is clear. One is showing how your insight made impact, how your insights brought about impact. The other one is just making a statement of what you've done. So it's very important that you note these differences. Your portfolio must always bridge the gap between technical metrics and real world value. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. I cannot emphasize that enough. The next aspect we're going to be looking at is the interview, scaling the final barrier to entry. Yeah, the interview. There's a lot to say about interview because many people, portfolio, let me tell you something very important. Your portfolio and a good resume or CV will get you an interview. And if you perform very well in your interview, it gets you the job. So if you look at it in a bigger picture, there is a procedure for this. Having a good portfolio, having a good resume is going to land you different interview. And if you can land different interview, it has pushed you ahead in the job market, letting you know that if you can scale through your interview, you are going to get the job you are looking for. As data scientist or as someone that is pushing a data career, put your project on GitHub and have a README file that explains everything about your project, and also have a good, well-structured CV. After this webinar, I'm going to share an example of a good CV you can use to update your CV. Yes, it's going to really push your job search. It's going to really give you a more advanced approach. So I'm going to send that after this webinar. So that's a whole lot. Now, talking about the interview, if your portfolio is good and if your portfolio is good, you get the interview. But many data enthusiasts, they freeze in this aspect. Understand that there are usually 3 stages of an interview. The first one is the screener stage. The second one is the the technical phase of the interview, and the last one is the executive phase. So we're going to look at the screener phase for a while. So in this screener phase, the human resource, your recruiter, focuses on culture fit and communication. So this is the this is the phase where you prove that you are a professional and you are reliable in the skill that you are professing. Yeah, that is what the screener phase is talking about. And I'm going to give you examples about it so that you can get it well. So this first phase, you have to look beyond being very good at your code. There are so many individuals right now, they are very good at their skill, they're very good in solving problems, but they lack that first stage. And that first stage is very important. It's very important. Is that place where you show confidence during an interview. Beyond you being very good at writing code, you must know how to be calm. You must know how to be comported during the interview. You must learn how to connect with your interviewer. During the interview, you can't be speaking to the recruiter and you are looking downward. It's going to point a red flag to the recruiter immediately or to the interviewer immediately. So when you're having an interview, you try to maintain eye contact. And when your interviewer is trying to pass a message that he really wants you to know, you have to reply to that kind of message by nodding your head and doing something that will let the recruiter know that you are listening. It's going to build this connection between you and the interviewer. It's going to make the interviewer feel like, okay, beyond this guy being very good at writing code, he also knows how to connect with me and understand what I'm trying to say. So you can see that this first phase plays a very important role. And another aspect in this phase is you have to show confidence too. You have to show confidence and you don't make it look like the CEO of that job is giving you a favor. During my experience in different interviews I've done when I was still coming up, right, I realized that it was like I had this mindset that the CEO is giving me a favor. So during the interview, I'm always like, yes, sir. Okay, sir. I understand, sir. It's going to make the CEO feel like this guy can be controlled so much. The interviewer is going to feel like if this guy gets this job, he's not going to be able to give his best or give his own opinion because he always wants to be on the controlled side, whereby they can control. You can't really put your voice out there. So it's very important that you show confidence and you have to understand that you are going to help the CEO in one way and the CEO is going to help you in the other way. So you have to take note of this. It's very important. Then for the second phase, that is the technical phase. The technical aspect is about logic. It's about how do you handle messy data? How do you approach problems? How do you solve problems? That's what the technical phase is talking about. That means you have to be very good at the role you're applying for. If it's the programming aspect, you have to be good in using that programming language to solve problems. If it's about your data storytelling, you have to be very good at it. That's the second stage. After you can show confidence, you have to show that you know the skill. And that takes us to the last phase of the interview, which is the executive phase. And this phase is talking about communication. Can you explain a p-value? For example, can you explain a p-value to a CEO who hasn't looked at a math book rather, in 20 years? Can you explain this? Can you communicate it properly? So what am I trying to say? You need to be prepared to pivot your language for each of these audiences. You have to be very good with communication. So that's a whole lot for these different phases. in an interview. We're going to look at mastering the response now. After knowing these phases, how do you approach how do you know the right responses to give? Let's look at that. When you are asked, for example, when you are asked, tell me about a project, you don't just, your brain shouldn't go blank. You should have a particular way you can use to approach those kind of questions. Your interviewer just tells you, tell me about a project you've conducted. So there's a strategy to answer this question, and it's called the PAR method. The P stands for problem, the A stands for action, and the R stands for results. Spend the most time on the action. After you've spoken about the problem, how you understand the problem, you should spend much more time on the action aspect. And that aspect is, you're going to talk about what you specifically did and the result that was the output of that action, and what happened to the business because of it too. So you can use that method to avoid that blankness of your brain going blank when you are being asked that question. You can use this method. It will really help you a lot, so that you know that once you are asked that question, just think of the problem followed by the action, what you would implement, followed by the results. Yes, it will help you. It will help your brain from going blank. And also, never just give an answer. Don't just give an answer. If an interviewer asks why you need a specific model, explain the trade-offs. Show them that you didn't just copy a tutorial, but that you made a conscious engineering decision. So don't just answer the question. Tell them why you did things the way you did them. Yeah, it's going to make the interviewer know that you know exactly what you are doing. If you are following so far, you can send a reaction. I really want to pass this message that you all would understand it. So give a reaction if you are following so far. Next, we are going to look at the summary, the summary, as well as the key takeaways of this webinar. So to wrap up, remember that your technical skills are the engine. You have to be very good at that skill you're applying for. But at the same time, your career, your career strategy is the steering wheel. Yes. So you have to build a portfolio that tells a story, that is well documented, that explains everything. You have to treat every interview as a consultation and never stop being a student of the business. Yes, you have to be very good at what you do. You have to be very good. And also know that data is a multiplier for your career. This is one of the main mission of Chris Tech Analytics. It lets you utilize data skills in your domain expertise. Whether you studied agriculture, you studied a health related course, you studied engineering, name it, name the course. Having a data skill helps, it gives you an upper hand. It helps you advance your domain expertise, and it also helps you make data driven decision making in your domain. So don't take a data skill as an isolated skill. No, it's something you apply wherever you find yourself, in any industry you find yourself. And secondly, your portfolio is a sales pitch. It sells you. It tells people this is what you can do. It's not a storage unit. You just pack all your projects and put it there. It's something you structure well because it sells you. It sells what you can do. And lastly, your interviews. It tests your thought process through the data-driven decision-making lens. It tests how you reason, it tests how you think. Most interviews, the interviewer wants to know how you think when you are being given a problem. How do you approach the problem? What is the structure you use to solve a given problem? And that will be all for this webinar. Now it's time for questions and answers. So let's discuss your career journey. So I hand over to the event coordinator to coordinate this aspect. Thank you all for your time.
Please, let's show some love. Let's show some love. Hit that react button. Let's show appreciation. It's been an amazing time on here. For those that just joined us, you've missed a lot. But as always, we are going to have resources. We are going to have this recorded, or we are having this recorded for rewatching purposes. So don't fret, but please do well to join us earlier next time. So just like he has said, we're going to be taking in some questions. If you have any question, please just drop it in the chat. If you look down on your screen, you're going to see a chat button. So just drop your questions if you have any on there, and it's going to be attended to. It's a first come, first serve basis. So the earlier you drop your question, the earlier it is attended to. Any question regarding building a formidable career, whether in tech, in data science, or whatever field you're currently in, he has dropped a lot of gems. Mr. Christopher has dropped a lot of gems so far, and I believe that he has more. If you want tailored answers to specific questions, so the floor is open. If you have any question, you can place it down here. And also we are open to contributions too. If you feel you have anything to add to, I mean, it's a community, and one thing that is notable when it comes to communities is that it's kind of like a democracy, so everyone is allowed to speak. So if you have any contribution, if you have any expertise you want to share with us, we are absolutely open to that soon. So please let us know. You can raise your hand up, or you can drop your question down in the comment section. Yeah, I beg your pardon, the chat section. Anyways, while we are waiting for you to, formulate that question in your head, I know some of you might have questions. You're just trying to figure out how to put them forward. Let me quickly appreciate each and every one of us again for making our time to be here. I know that we are giving our value. Regardless, we are still appreciative of your time. I want to appreciate our founder, Mr. Onyeneke Christopher, who is so dedicated to seeing growth in this community. You guys don't even see what happens behind the scenes. Mr. Christopher is very, very much dedicated to sharing value, to giving out value for free. So please, 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 let's always show appreciation by being committed to these meetings. So once again, I thank you, Mr. Christopher, on behalf of the Christech Analytics team. We thank you for your dedication to this community. We are so grateful. Okay, I think questions have dropped into the comment section. So Mr. Christopher, please, if you can hear me, this is a question. Hi, sir. What skills or experiences helped you break into data science early in your career?
Okay, yeah, that's a nice question there. So when I started earlier in my data journey, I started with learning Excel. Excel is a very popular tool. It's a very popular tool. You use it to do basic analysis. You can analyze small data sets. Yes. So I started with Excel. And then from Excel, I went through Power BI, how to visualize your analysis. Yes, how to visualize your analysis. Then after that, I started learning Python programming language. That is one of the major skills you need to have as a data scientist. You must know how to work with Python and the different libraries in Python. But as a beginner, you don't just start learning Python or just start learning something advanced. As a beginner, you can start with something simple. Then as your excitement grows, you start touching other aspects. So to summarize this question, you start by learning Excel, a basic tool you can use to analyze data and also understand what data is all about. Don't just start learning skill all of a sudden. Also read and know the meaning of data analysis, the meaning of data science, the meaning of different data carriers, what they mean and what they can do. It would help you in knowing the right tools to learn and growing from there. So I believe I've been able to answer your question.
That was an amazing one. Thank you so much. Like I said earlier before, if you have a question, you can even raise your hand up. You can click the raised hand button and let us know you want to speak. Also, if you have any contribution, we're going to be wrapping up in less than 10 minutes, or less than 15, less than 10 minutes. We are done here. So, yeah, we're open to those questions, to those contributions. Okay, in the absence of any, I believe we are at the tail end of this event. Again, I cannot express how much we are grateful that you are showing up consistently. I am seeing a couple faces that were here from the last webinar. I thank you for your consistent um, dedication and commitment to growing. Yes, to growing for yourself, but I still thank you. Once again, I thank Mr. Christopher. I thank all the Christech Analytics team, from the engagement lead to the graphic designers to everyone who came together to make this event a success. We are so grateful. Yeah, so I guess that brings us to the end. Thank you all for a wonderful time together. We can leave, or you can leave the chat as soon as you please. Thank you, thank you, thank you.